Hey everyone, my name is Boone and I'm a video producer, and I use Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects all the time, and occasionally when I'm making videos I'll jump into Photoshop, and whether it's to retouch a photo for a documentary or to create a thumbnail for YouTube. I use it just a little bit, and I use it just enough to get by, really. And in fact, every time I open it up now, I find myself wasting a lot of time kind of relearning some of the little things, how to manipulate layers, how to make proper selections. So for this reason, I've decided to compile this list of keyboard shortcuts to help speed up my workflow. Also, I have two very cool giveaway prizes for this video from Logic Keyboard. First place winner will win a free keyboard of your choice, any software for any platform. Second prize is a free keyboard skin. So to enter the contest, just follow the link in the description, and the contest will end on this date. So a quick disclaimer, I'm working on a Mac. For you PC folks, Command is the control button and the option button is Alt. So as you've probably seen here on my channel, I do video tutorials about Premiere Pro and After Effects primarily. So I create a lot of YouTube thumbnails for this kind of content. So here I've made this template Photoshop file where I can just quickly go in and pick some of the icons. Let's say I'm doing an After Effects tutorial. I can quickly turn off this Premiere Pro one. So this is all ready to go. I don't have to recreate it every time I want to create a new thumbnail. So this is the project I'm going to be using to show you some of these shortcuts. Okay, I have two favorite commands that I want to share with you first, and I think they're the most important. First, if you hit Command F, that's going to bring up this dialog box, and I can type in anything I want to know. If I type in how to merge layers, I can just type in merge. It's going to show me all of these actions here where they're located in the menus, and it's also going to give me a link to the help files. So this is very helpful, especially for beginners. And next is the undo multiple times key shortcut. So Photoshop, for some reason, when you hit undo, Command Z, it will only undo once and then it will redo. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here I have this image selected. Let's say we're going to move this. I'm going to move it a couple of times. Then I want to move this icon over here. Now let's say we want to undo what we just did. So I'm going to hit Command Z once, hit Command Z again, and you can see it just cycles between undo, redo, which is extremely frustrating. To get around this, just simply hold Command Option Z, and then you can go back and undo multiple times. Okay, now let's take a look at a few view commands. So I can obviously use Command plus and minus to quickly zoom in and out on my image, but if I want to automatically fit it to the screen here, I'll hit Command 0. Now this is a 1920 by 1080 resolution image here, and you can see it says it's at 106.25%. So if I want to see it at its native resolution, I can hit Command 1, and it'll automatically put it at 100%. If you want to get your symmetry on, there's a lot of shortcuts for that. First, I'm going to take a look at a grid. I can do that by hitting Command apostrophe, that'll bring up the grid. If I want to look at guides, I'll hit Command semicolon. For rulers, it's Command R. Now you can see up and down here we have our rulers. I can bring new guides out. If I want my layers to snap, I'll select a layer here, then I'll hit Command Shift semicolon. And now if I go up here and look at my view, you'll see snap is selected. And I can select what I want it to snap to. It can snap to guides, the grid, other layers, the document bounds, and I can specify just what I want it to snap to. Now if I bring a guide out here, I can actually move the guide around, but if I want to lock it, I'll go Command Option semicolon, and now all of these guides are locked in. You can't move them. You see I accidentally moved this layer here, but now all of these guides are totally locked in. Last but not least, for the view, I have a really cool feature where I can change the color of the background here. So if I hit spacebar and hold it and then hit F and keep hitting F, you'll see that these colors are cycling here. And since I did a screenshot of another Adobe program, it has the same color, so this can kind of blend in, so it might be nice to switch the colors up. Now we're going to take a look at some selection shortcuts. First we have the Autoselect feature. So I'm going to open up this icons here, and I'm going to turn on a couple of these icons here. We have a Facebook one. So if I were to go and just grab this Facebook here, I have this one selected, I have my move tool selected. Now if I wanted to go over here and try to grab this After Effects one, you see I cannot select it. It still has this layer selected here. So I could go up here and select Autoselect, which is going to let me select these individually, or I can just hold the Command key as I click. Now as I hold that Command key, look what's toggling up here. I'm pressing that Command key. So as I hold that, now I can automatically select the different layers. So now you can see I have all these different layers here. Let's say I want to find something very particular that's lost down in this list here. I want to find a particular icon. I can hit Option Command Shift F, it's kind of a big one, and now it's going to bring up this search box here. So let's say I want Instagram. I can type in Instagram and it'll automatically give me all of those Instagram layers. I have a text layer here and then I have two of the logos. Okay, so now let's say I want to make some edits to this image back here. So I'm going to turn off these icons and go down and select this timecode screenshot. Now there's a few different tools here that you can use to make selections. Here we have the marquee tool on all the different sub tools here. Here we have the lasso tool. And if I click and hold, you'll see there's a variety of other tools here. And then we have this quick selection tool, and you see there's the magic wand tool. So these all have shortcut keys. For marquee is M, lasso is L, and for the quick selection is W. Now if I hold shift when I hit any of these keys, for instance if I hold shift and hit M and I keep pressing M, it's going to cycle between those tools. If I hold shift and hit L, it's going to cycle between all of those tools. And if I hold shift and hit W, it's going to cycle between those tools. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab this marquee tool here, and I'm going to make a quick selection on my image. Now let's say I want to just lower the brightness of this section here. This is fine, but I want to lower the brightness of this side. It's a little too bright. Well, if I just come and I start to adjust the brightness values of this, I want to be careful because this selection could have a very hard edge. And if you look up here, it says feather 0 pixels. So I want to kind of feather this out. So a quick shortcut for that is Shift F6. That'll immediately bring up your feather selection, and you can quickly adjust the radius of this. So I'm going to put this at say 50 pixels. Let's do 100. Select OK. If I want to make even further adjustments to the edge here, I can hit Command Option R, and that's going to bring up those refine edge tools. So now we can see here exactly what we got going on. We can make adjustments here. Now let's say I don't want to adjust this section, I want to adjust this other section. Well, I can quickly invert my selection by holding Shift Command I, and that'll automatically invert it to select what I got here. If I suddenly don't want to make these changes right now, I want to go do something else, I can deselect by holding Command and pressing D. And if I change my mind again, let's say, oops, I don't want to do that, I want to go back and I want to reselect, then just simply hold Command Shift and D, and it'll automatically reselect. So now I'm going to show you how you can make some quick adjustments to your actual image. So one of the most common things I do with images is use the free transform tool. So that shortcut command is Command T. And now make sure I have my layer here when I hit Command T. And now you'll see I can see the bounding box of this particular layer. Let me zoom out so you can get a better look. Now this will allow me to resize this, reposition it, do whatever I want. I can grab the edge here. And you can see I can do it manually, but it's kind of deforming the image. So if I hold the Shift key, that'll automatically constrain those proportions. And even further than that, if I hold the Alt key, it'll keep it center. So I can kind of resize this, reposition it however I want. Now, if I want to adjust the overall size of the image and not just this particular image layer, I'm going to hit enter. Then simply hold Command Option I, and that'll bring up your image size dialog box. Now I can manually put in whatever pixel aspect ratio, whatever resolution I want, and that'll change again the entire image, not just this particular layer. So I'm going to click cancel. Let me take this as even a step further. If I want to adjust the actual canvas, I can hold Command Option and hit C. That'll bring up this canvas size. This is going to adjust basically the bounding box here. It's not going to change any of these layers here. You can also do this in your final step when you're exporting your image. It's all however you want to do your workflow. I do this a lot because when I'm writing a blog article, for instance, I need pictures of various size. So sometimes I'll change the image size, sometimes I'll change the canvas size, depending on what exactly I need to do. So if I type in 1000, you'll see that my canvas, the new canvas is smaller than the current. It's going to tell you it's going to clip your image. You hit proceed. You see now that canvas is resized. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Okay, I'm going to bring this back to fit within the screen. Now I'm going to make this selection again. I have my marquee tool selected. I'm going to reselect this half of my image here, make sure that the layer is selected, and I want to bring down the brightness of this. So there's a couple of different tools I can use here. First is levels. If I hold Command and hit L, that'll automatically bring up my levels. I can make adjustments here. I can bring down the darkness, I can mess with the brightness, mess with the gamma, the midtones, whatever I want. I'm going to click cancel. If I want to activate curves, which I prefer, I'm going to hit Command and then hit M, and now I have the curves here. I can make curve adjustments, can lower the brightness here, but again you can see I don't have this selection feathered. I need to go ahead and make that selection again. I'm going to cancel this, and last but not least, let's say we wanted to desaturate something or saturate it. I can hold Command and hit U. It's going to bring up these hue and saturation controls. I can change the hue, I can adjust the saturation, do whatever I want, even control the brightness here as well. So learning some keyboard shortcut commands for working with layers is obviously very important because layers is a huge aspect of Photoshop. So let's say I have my image here and I want to create a new layer over top of this image. I can hold Command Shift and hit N, and that's automatically going to add a new layer. I'll hit OK, adds a layer just above my timecode layer. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Let's say we want to add a new layer just underneath this though. If I hold the Command key and then simply hit that new layer button, that'll automatically add one beneath it. So if you want to add a layer under it as opposed to above it quickly, that's how you can get it done. Now if I want to quickly make a copy of a layer, I'm going to select, let's select this After Effects, and if I hold Command and hit J, you can see now there's a copy of this After Effects. If I drag it over, you can see now there are two. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. You can also make a copy based on a selection. So if I go over here and grab my image, I'm going to turn off all these icons, turn on the marquee, make my selection. Now if I hit Command J, it's going to make a copy, but if I deselect the original, it's going to have just this particular selection. I'm going to turn this off. It's going to have just this particular selection area that it copied, which is very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Let me show you one other thing. If I have my selection here and I hold Command Shift J, that's going to make a copy, but this time if you look down here you can see the transparency information. It made a copy based off of the cut. So here's our original. It basically cut the selected area out and pasted it, and here's the paste. It pasted just the selection. Now one other thing that I've seen, it's kind of hard to get layers in the particular order that I want, and I want a faster way. So a quick way to move layers around in the layer panel, let's see, I have this 2019 here. Let's say I want to move this up. I can hold the Command key and hit the left and right brackets to move it either up or down. It's basically arranging it forward or backward. So as I move it down in the layer panel, you'll see once it gets behind the image you can't see it anymore. So this is a quick way to just kind of bring it forward and put it exactly where you want it in the layers panel. And if you want to jump specifically all the way, if you want to arrange it all the way to the front or push it all the way to the back, simply hold the Shift key. So Command Shift left bracket is going to send it all the way to the back, and Command Shift right bracket is going to bring it all the way to the front. And you can also see just a few minutes ago with that last project I had a lot of folders. Well, those are groups. So that keeps things organized. Now to make a group, I can simply select, let's say I want these icons here. I'm going to select both of these. Then I'm going to hit Command G, and you can see now it put it into this group, which I can rename icons. Now if I want to undo that, simply do Command Shift G when you have your group, and it's going to bust that group back out into its individual layers. I can also merge layers. Let's say every time we use these two icons, they're always going to be together. So we don't need two individual layers for this. So we could easily merge this by holding Command and hitting E, and that's going to bring them into one layer. Now if I turn this off and on, those are merged. Okay, so there you have it. Those are my favorite Photoshop keyboard shortcuts. Let me know what your favorites are in the comments section. I always love to learn new keyboard shortcuts. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. And again, if you want to be eligible for those prizes, the free keyboard from Logic Keyboard and the free keyboard skin, follow the link in the video description. Okay, I'll see you next time.